Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I am back here for the third Decan in Aries video. The card that belongs to Aries' third Decan is this one, the Four of Wands. And so here we have the Venus symbol along with the Aries sign. And here are those two corresponding cards. We have the Emperor for Aries and the Empress for Venus. And I think this is just such a beautiful connection here. The Four of Wands represents a lot of kind of those foundations. A lot of times it's associated with a celebration of a marriage or something fundamental and foundational in our lives. And so I think it's so beautiful to have the Emperor and Empress here. You can have them looking at each other or away from each other as well if we, put them in that order. And I think we can gain meaning from both of those positionings, right? Like in a marriage, looking away from each other, maybe not the best. Maybe it'd be better if they were looking to each other, right? And so lots of lessons to learn here and apply while going through the third Decan in Aries. A lot about building those foundations. So as we recall from my previous video, let me see, the second Decan card for Aries is, of course, the Three of Wands, sorry. And so I'll just pull that out if I can find it. Let me see here. And just as a quick reminder, I am using the Zodiac Tarot deck for this series here. And here is that Decan that we are moving away from now. So the Three of Wands, it's about standing at the precipice of action, right? So we're making our choices, we're starting to move forward. And then now here with the Four of Wands, we are building those foundations. We are, beginning to work and lay down those fundamentals that will take us through the remainder of the year. And so if you're interested in hearing more about my thoughts regarding the Emperor, and then back here we have the Tower card, which represents Mars, please look to my first video for that. But yeah, I'll keep these cards here because they are the cards for Aries and Mars, which Mars rules the sign of Aries, and of course we want the Emperor there to represent the zodiac sign. But the main cards we'll be going into today are these here. So I don't know, maybe we'll move those aside for now. So again, here we have Venus and Aries. So we are, I guess, the third Decan in Aries is kind of starting to merge into Taurus season. And this is perhaps why we see Venus starting to come in. And I think in the more modern interpretation of Decans, we have Jupiter as the co-ruler as well, and a connection to Sagittarius as like, I don't know, I've seen it called like a triplicity. It's a lot to explain in this video. If you're interested, maybe I'll go into that in the future. But for now, suffice it to say, these cards are all related to the Four of Wands. And I think to kind of go over the Decan, I'll just mention things that pop out at me from the cards and connect them to actions or lessons or just things we can think about as we move through the third Decan of Aries, which is the Four of Wands. Aries, of course, is a very passionate sign. It's all about leadership, taking charge, stepping forward with courage and boldness as we start like a new astrological year. It's a lot about, tearing down old foundations and building new ones. So not being held back by the past, not staying in our, what are they called? Like the Ivy Tower or something like that, right? Not staying in our safe and secure zones, but just kind of moving forward, venturing out and kind of having an adventure. And I think that's where We can connect to the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. They're a lot about travel and exploration and expansion and things like that. So that's a nice lesson here to learn from Sagittarius, but also keeping in mind Temperance as the leading card for this, right? Temperance is about taking our time, not rushing necessarily into things, but being mindful and taking things step by step, which I really like, because I think that's a big lesson we can apply during Aries season. Yes, we want to be bold and, take leadership and charge and all of that, but we want to do it mindfully, not just chaotically and destructively, right? Not just for destruction's sake, but for actually to build something better for ourselves and just the future in general. Connected to Sagittarius, we have, of course, the Jupiter card here, which is connected to the Wheel of Time. And this card is a lot about the ups and downs of life. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down. Sometimes there's just things that whirl us around. And so as we're building new foundations, it's important to remember that, building new things isn't always easy, and it doesn't always feel great, and it doesn't always go well. Sometimes we have challenges that come along. It's very natural. It's a very natural part of that process. But sometimes we have nice wins, and so we want to take the good with the bad. We want to learn from the bad so that we can improve and do better, with each step that we're taking along our journey. And we see there like winds of change and that kind of thing, which I think is great. I do have my trusty little pointer because I think it does a better job of pointing than my fingers, because sometimes I block too much of the image. But anyways, so yeah, we have those winds of change there. We have the stars, right? Our hopes and dreams. And so I think it's just good to move forward, try to move with the winds of change, and not get so high on ourselves, not get so down on ourselves, That's just the way of the world, right? The way of life. And then here we have the Empress, all about nurturing and taking care of those things that we are starting to pursue. Certainly, especially as we, begin to build these new foundations in our life. So I think it's a great card for this. Something interesting that's often talked about with the Four of Wands, that Venus isn't very comfortable in Aries. It's kind of an uncomfortable position to be in. And so it's a coming together of opposites. But I think with that, something that I like to think about is, right, the Emperor is very much so about leadership and that kind of toughness and boldness, while the Empress is something more soft, of course, nurturing and all of that. But I think even though they're opposites, right, there is that saying opposites attract, but also they're complementary to each other. They're complementary energies. We can't all be bold and strong and, powering through all the time. Parts of us need to be following that direction or nurturing the efforts that we're trying to grow or, produce or whatever. So it's not always one-sided, and we should really be mindful to be discerning and to think about what requires leadership and boldness during this time and what requires some softness and nurturing during this time. So it's just some little food for thought there. But yeah, and then here we have them standing on, it almost looks like they're standing on Mars, with that red right below them, which I take to be kind of that passion, that fire energy that they're standing on. So I really like that. They have their little laurels on their hands, which is kind of cute. But we don't rest on our laurels. We build on them. So any successes that we have, we don't just sit on them. We grow them and we develop them and we nurture them so that we can continue to go down our path of life. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. I'm happy that it's just kind of straight and to the point, but let me know your thoughts about Four of Wands, the third Aries Decan. Any ideas for connecting to the season and how you see this Decan reflected in life as we move through the Four of Wands energy? Thank you so much for joining me again, and look out for my other Decan videos coming soon. Bye.